Hi, welcome to Common Sense. Um, Sorry about the non-interesting video, but that's okay. Just a guy on his iPhone. And the reason I'm creating this channel is I want to actually get back to common sense. I think everybody that I see on Twitter is really unhappy with the government, or some piece of the government. And I think what I see the biggest problem with is that people just aren't using common sense. And I tried to think, what can I give as an example of common sense? Because we know it's really actually not so common. And I think when I think of common sense, I think of King Solomon from the Bible. And King Solomon, I think the story that I most associate with him is a parable. King Solomon is there. Two women come in to his chamber or wherever he's hearing cases. And he's king, but he's also kind of like a judge. And they both say, "This baby is my baby." And so he listens to both of them. They both pretty much have the same story. And then he comes up with a pretty fair answer. He says, "Okay, no problem. Just chop the baby in half, give them each half, and you guys can be on your way." And so one of the mothers calls out, "No, no, no, wait, wait. Give the baby to her." And King Solomon, in his wisdom, says, "Well, that's the real mother." And so I think this story tells us a lot about common sense. First of all, King Solomon listens to both sides. He doesn't have a preference. He doesn't say, which king did you vote for? Or tell me, what's your position on it? No, he just listens to their stories. And then he comes up with a fair but bizarre solution. And to me, this reminds me that sometimes things that sound fair, there's a lot of issues that we're facing as a country that I think there are no really fair answers. I mean, you're pro-choice or you're pro-life. You're in favor of gay marriage, you're against gay marriage. I mean, there's no real, like, we'll split the difference. If you split it up, nobody gets anything. And then it also shows me that sometimes by asking the right questions or reframing the question or maybe taking it to extreme, but that there's some way that we can look at whatever it is that is bothering us that will give us some sort of insight where we can figure out what the right answer or the least worst answer is. I mean, I think a lot of these issues, there's not a right answer. There's answers that are horrible and then some that are bad, and maybe we have to go with a bad answer to avoid a horrible answer. So the first topic for common sense that I want to cover in this video is to really set out where I stand from, because I think that anybody who's watching it immediately wants to know, am I a Democrat? Am I a Republican? And so the two types of things that I'd like to cover in this channel are situations where people say two different things that are just not compatible. Like if you believe A, you can't also believe B. And then issues where I just think everybody's talking about it wrong. And maybe it's that I'm thinking about it wrong, in which case, I'll put out a video and people will correct me, and then I can gain some insight that I didn't have. Or maybe I'll be able to put out a video that gives insight that other people are not talking about. But I think there has to be somewhere a talk about a primary allegiance. And that when you say you have a primary allegiance to something, it's your top priority, it's your top thing. And so when there comes to a choice, fork in the road, that's what you're going to use to make a decision. And so you could have your primary allegiance be to a party. I am primary allegiance is to the Democratic Party. I don't care, whatever, I'm going to do that. Or you could have your primary allegiance be to the United States. Or you could have your primary allegiance be to some part of your identity. You could say, I identify as a man or as a woman or as transsexual or whatever. I'm black, I'm white. Pick any topic, any box that you want, and say that that's my primary allegiance. And I know we would all like to believe that some of these things go together, right? That if my primary allegiance is, as a Republican, I want to feel that the Republicans are always going to be doing things that are in line with what's best for the country. But I think inevitably there's going to come a time where there's something that's good for the party and there's something that's good for the country. And so how are you going to decide that? Where's your primary allegiance? So my primary allegiance is as a citizen of the United States. I am not going to try not to favor in my videos any one particular party or any one particular issue, because I think that's unfair. I think we have plenty of that. You can pick your favorite news channel and they will tell you exactly what you're supposed to think on any particular issue. But I think that's the biggest issue that we face as a country, is that people aren't thinking for themselves on the issues. They're waiting for somebody on some team, like a coach, to give them the nod. I mean, I think it was, I can't remember, somebody during the Kavanaugh, I think it might have been Ted Cruz, talking about we put on the right jersey, and that way we know which team we play for. And I think he was, when I got lost in the jersey, I think he was trying to talk about being bipartisan. But I mean, it is very true. It's not something that anybody who is alive and involved in the media at all can say. We don't really have non-biased media anymore. We have some media that's overtly biased, and we have other media that tries to be not biased and is successful to greater or lesser extent. But I don't think that we have any media that doesn't have an agenda that is just strictly non-biased, or if they are non-biased, we can't trust that. We feel like they're biased. And I think that's smart. I think we should always be asking, when something comes out, what was the agenda of the person who's writing this? What did they hope to achieve? Are they just giving me facts, or are they giving me opinion? Most of what passes for news nowadays really is opinion, which is, it's not new. News and opinion to me are two different things. So I'm going to try my best not to offer my opinion as much, but really have more YouTube channel that focuses on how to think about the issues, or ways that we can think about the issues. And then whatever conclusions you come to, hey, that's cool. I mean, we're presumably, everybody watching this is also a citizen of the United States. And I do you the respect of assuming that regardless of what party, that you want the best for our country, as I want the best for our country. And that, it's just my hope that I can shed some light on different topics and help people to think in a way that makes it easier, and makes it easier to see the other side as well. So I hope you'll watch later videos, and I haven't bored you too much. And I will be back with another video probably very soon. Thanks.